Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sheryl McCumsey, founder of Pesticide-Free Alberta. She's now moved to British Columbia, to the fine town of Campbell River. But she's just as interested in making sure the food and air that you breathe and eat is still pure and decent and not something that's going to kill you. Sheryl, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jim. Hey, I just want to say Powell River.
Powell River? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Campbell.
Oh, my God. Getting Campbell and Powell Rivers mixed up. I should be taken out and shot. I'm from Peace River,
well,
so don't...
I really like this place, I have to say.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Campbell River, so I don't know what Campbell River is actually like. I've been over on the island around that area, but not right to Campbell River itself.
Well, I'm from Peace River, so don't get Peace River mixed up with some other river either.
Oh, no, I haven't, and I've been up there. It's beautiful country up there. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And it's Peace River, Peace River. When somebody asks me, where are you from in the Peace? No, Peace River, Peace River.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we've established exactly where you are, one of the big issues that we've talked about in the past is the BC government spraying of herbicides, pesticides, who knows what, on BC forests. First of all, is that necessary? Is it a risk? And has it become an election issue?
Well, it certainly is an election issue for a number of citizens in BC. I mean, if you're looking at a petition that was initiated in the Prince George area, they've got over 110,000 signatures on their petition, and this is just BC citizens. We didn't have any problem getting a lot of signatures on our petition in a very short period of time here. You don't have that anywhere near the number of people. So it's definitely an issue. It's interesting. BC, Stop the Spray BC has created a letter for candidates to sign saying whether they're going to address this issue or not. And in Prince George, both the Liberal and the Green candidate have both said that they would do everything in their power to stop it. I've seen a few Greens signing this letter. The NDP really haven't, really they put a lot of spin on what they're doing, and I don't think the Liberals are all that interested in this issue either, although this one Liberal candidate is. He's kind of, I sort of think sometimes there are some candidates out there who I feel have a lot of integrity on their own, regardless of what their party might have done. So, it is an election issue because forestry is huge in BC. We're told that this is kind of like what BC relies on, but we are putting an awful lot of subsidies into forestry now, and a lot of this is going offshore. We're losing jobs in BC, so jobs is definitely an issue. Subsidies going out to companies that are not even Canadian owned is certainly going to be more of an issue with COVID. So I would say it is an issue. It's just indirect and not transparent to the general public.
Why is spraying BC forests so important to know about, and why is it important to stop it?
Because there is so much evidence to show that what we are doing is creating a fire hazard by spraying. We are eliminating the very trees that are much more fire resistant. And some of the studies and some trees are 840% more fire resistant than pine trees, for example. So this is like aspen, any deciduous tree. And not only do these trees prevent the spread of a forest fire and are fire resistant, they create health in the soil by the leaf matter that they drop into the forest floor. So there's a number of things that herbicides do besides wiping out perfectly good trees that could be harvested for other purposes, creating other jobs in BC if we were to put this kind of thing forward. And I mean, here in Powell River, I even heard of people who used to manually remove some vegetation to let the trees grow that they are wanting to harvest down the road. Those guys don't have those jobs anymore because now they've hired companies that aren't local to spray. So we're taking out perfectly good vegetation. This is basically to address what they call pests, which they consider trees as pests that aren't what we're going to be harvesting by these forest companies. And then the herbicides can also get into the water, and nobody's probably going to know about that when that happens, because a lot of places don't even look for herbicides in their water. And it's also going to be very harmful to wildlife and other vegetation. It doesn't just stay put. It doesn't just disappear like people say it does. There's breakdown products that are often harmful as well. And it's really interesting in the FOIP that I just got. This is a request to the Minister of Environment's office. I just got it. And it would have been nice to have got it sooner, but of course right before the election makes it harder to make this issue important in people's minds. But and some of these reports that I'm looking at, it's pretty clear that there's a question here. I'm going to read it out verbatim. I'm not going to name the person, but it says, I have in the past tried to get information from the BC Ministry, any proof that it has seen evidence that glyphosate has no adverse effect on forests before approving its use. Sadly, I have not been shown any evidence of it by the previous BC Ministry. I have reason to believe that the BC government has never seen any proof that glyphosate spraying on our forests is at all safe, and yet has been approving it out of a continued bad habit year upon year. And I'd have to say that I would agree with that statement. This is an email correspondence going between people within the current government, it appears, 2017. So, yeah, we are told in letters that people wrote to this Minister of Environment that it is confirmed that it's safe. Well, where's the confirmation? I have not seen any. Nobody else has seen any. And so, yes, this is a big deal because we're creating a fire hazard, this herbicide in particular, and other herbicides will do the same kind of thing. Just because we're talking about glyphosate doesn't mean other pesticides, other herbicides are not going to be equally or maybe even more harmful. But we're creating a fire hazard because you dry out that vegetation when you spray on it and you kill it. At least when you're removing it manually, it will probably slowly break down into the soil. But it's insane. It makes no sense to keep doing that. And we could stop. Quebec quit doing this about 20 years ago. And a report came out later on saying that the biggest thing was that it took a little more time and effort to do what the forestry companies wanted, which equals jobs, really. So there's that. And then with this FOIP, my FOIP was basically focused on pesticide abuses, which you can imagine in the back country, any abuse of a pesticide, and that means not using it according to the label, spraying it too close to water, for example, so it does get into the water and could harm the fish and other organisms and so on. But there are reasons to believe it would be very difficult for anybody to even witness an abuse because we're talking about the backcountry, way in the backcountry where there's hardly anybody walking around, maybe nobody except for the people who are actually applying it. And yet I still have a number of reports that say that there was Canfor, for example, there was an issue where they didn't have any signage, so somebody going on a trail, for example, wouldn't even know that the area had been sprayed. There was one report, it was actually reported in the media where a woman was sprayed over by helicopters while she was on her horse. So these are kind of disturbing examples, but there's actually quite a few of them. There's like no signage, spraying near or over water. These are the ones that are reported. So even if you think using pesticides are okay, I'd like to know who's actually watching over this. There isn't really anybody.
We'll discuss this more when the Goddard Report continues.
All right.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sheryl McCumsey. Sheryl, why is it so disconcerting that these pesticides are going into the water, and what exactly does glyphosate do?
Well, it does a number of things, but it's linked to, as we know, it is linked to cancer if we were to be exposed to it. Of course, we're exposed to it in multiple ways, but if it's in your water and you don't even know, that's pretty concerning. But there certainly are studies on how it harms a number of like amphibians and other wildlife, and it damages the soil because it kills microorganisms. There is a patent for that, and it shows both soil and gut flora that it will destroy. Plus, it's a very strong chelator. This is something I think I've talked about before, which means it holds on to essential minerals. So really, even if you just spray this stuff and you want to forget about it and all that, like, it's probably damaging the very trees that the forest companies want to harvest. So again, it sounds like, in a way, that if you look at this, beyond, like a few minutes away, it's going to damage the very industry that it's using it. It doesn't make any sense. There's one letter in here too that's also saying that is a report, more or less, or a letter. It says that Canada is overtaking Brazil as the world's worst deforester. So, if we're going to talk about all these things around climate change, we absolutely have to address what we're doing in our forests. And so this is actually a relatively easy fix. It's a way of thinking and a mindset, and we could do way better. It would benefit all people here in BC. So I don't know. There's a number of things that it does. It's linked to reproductive problems and cancer and stuff and so on in people, but we're also seeing a number of reports in different places in Canada where it's being linked to the reduction of wildlife. That's actually mentioned in here as well. Certainly in New Brunswick, they feel that they're seeing a decline of moose, and in other provinces in Canada, they see a decline of moose and deer. So if it's impacting our wildlife, like, what are we doing? Why are we ignoring all of these impacts and spraying? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Sheryl, with all these health effects, and you're talking about glyphosate, haven't there been lawsuits about it causing cancer?
Oh yeah, lots of lawsuits in the U.S. and I'm actually lost count and haven't been tracking in Canada. There was 3 or 4 class action suits in Canada in regards to that issue, but certainly huge action in the U.S. and big payout. Bayer's actually taken a big dive in the stock market because of these lawsuits in the U.S. So, because Bayer bought out Monsanto, not too long ago and took on all these problems along with it. So, but they're not exactly backpedaling on anything. They're still saying that it's safe. Well, I think there's a growing body of evidence that's just not true, and the people that are saying that it is safe are the ones that do the studies, that sell the product. There's a conflict of interest in that, and I don't want to take a chance with my health. I don't know why other people don't want to know about this, because the cancer rates in Canada are pretty concerning. Every second Canadian is going to develop cancer in their lifetime, and we know that cancer is related to environmental carcinogens. We know that. It's not really a question anymore. So don't we want to remove some of those? Don't we want to reduce some of those? If we're talking about what they call integrated pest management, which is kind of like pesticides are used as a last resort, if you can do anything at all and not use a pesticide, then you shouldn't be using it if you're using integrated pest management. So we're not doing that. It's just a joke. There is no way we should be spraying in our forests. You know, with the petition that we drew up, we cited the only reason anybody should ever spray is in the case of invasive weeds. Well, invasive weeds are not an issue in the backcountry. Anywhere where there's a lot of people tramping back and forth and a lot of disturbance, that's where sometimes we have a problem with invasive species. And sometimes there's other ways to address them as well. But otherwise, I cannot see why we would use that in forestry. It seems really backwards.
We'll have more with Sheryl McCumsey right after this.
Value from success. Growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sheryl McCumsey. Sheryl, are there more natural ways, non-invasive ways to control weeds and undergrowth? I'm just thinking of places that have used goats and sheep to eat the underbrush have a lot fewer forest fires.
Yeah, actually, Stop the Spray BC did a big report on that. They had a video on that where that's something they used to do. They used to do that very thing. And in some municipalities, they do use goats for addressing weeds as well. A couple places in BC and Alberta have done that as well. It's actually kind of like old technology in a way, you could say, the old way of doing things, but sometimes the old way is way better because not only are those animals, eating and consuming the weeds, they're also leaving fertilizer behind. Oh, well, that's a bonus. So it's kind of insane to not think about, some of the natural ways of doing things that have multiple benefits. You're employing someone then, who's doing that, and it's not going to harm anybody. Nobody's going to have to worry about being on their horse and being sprayed over by a helicopter. That must have been a pretty unpleasant experience for that lady.
Are there other things that we can do to try to improve our environment? Because it seems the big chemical companies carry on the same way Big Tobacco did, denying for decades that their product was harmful and deadly.
Yeah, we have system problems, system problems, and that industry basically is dictating everything from what's safe to use to how we're going to use it to when we're going to use it and so on. And, we have to look at our forests as being valuable in multiple ways, not just for one kind of tree. I mean, tourism maybe it's not doing so well right now with COVID, but tourism is certainly an industry, and so on. So, there's people harvesting berries and mushrooms, and we have wildlife in our forest. So we do really have to wrestle back control of our forests from industry. And it's the same thing with so many things. We've just allowed too much control to be taken over by big corporations, and our government is just turning a blind eye to all kinds of things. When it comes to a forest is not one tree. It is many things. And without all of those other things, you have a collapse. You have infestations of insects, for example. And we certainly do see that. When you have a variety of trees in your forest, you protect those trees because you have diversity. So, we have to wrestle control back from the forest companies. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time, but at least right now with the election, we can certainly ask this question. We can ask people to sign these letters. And then going forward, I'm wondering if it's going to require legal action to get people to do their job properly, because they're not serving the public properly.
Sheryl, where can people go online to find out more about these issues?
Well, Stop the Spray BC has been doing an excellent job, and he's been almost posting something almost every single day on both the website and the Facebook page, Stop the Spray BC. There are other provinces that have really good information on their websites and Facebook pages on this issue as well. But right now we have an election coming up, that's we only have a few days left to vote, and if we can't make up our mind on who we're going to vote for, we could ask this question and make this an issue. It should be an issue. I'm concerned about the community we live in, and I think everybody should be concerned about the community they live in and how vulnerable they are. There have been, if you drive along the highway, there are some places that had some pretty bad fires, and those communities never really came back. It's really sad. You go through those areas and you feel sadness when you drive through them. I can think of one in particular, and so if we don't, we're told to plant deciduous trees on our properties and fire smart videos. So why don't the forest companies get it? It's just, they aren't going to get it unless we put a lot of pressure on our government. That's the way it's going to work, because I don't think they're going to listen to us.
Sheryl, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome, Jim. Take care.
My guest has been Sheryl McCumsey, founder of Pesticide Free Alberta. She was speaking to us from Powell River, British Columbia. If you have any questions for Sheryl or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @TalkDigitalNet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.